Hello, my name is Patrick Gunning, and you are currently tuned into What Am I Saying, a show which I talk about random things. Here on episode 13, I am going to be talking about the world of disabilities. A disability is part of a person's identity, and they should be treated with respect. And I'm going to start the show right now. Every single person that you meet, one way and the other, may have a disability, and it's different from one from the other, depends on the person. There are disabilities based on physical appearance, and then there are others based on the way that person behaves, including their communication skills and interactions to others around them. A person may have more than just one disability altogether, but it varies to the person. Two people that have both the same disability would act and behave differently from one and the other. Doing some sort of task can be challenging, but with a person with a disability without any options or resources available that would help them, it would be difficult to them. There are visible disabilities like wheelchair users down to having Down syndrome, and then them are invisible disabilities, which it varies by the way of the person would behave, like autism and etc. People with any kind of disabilities can do a task very difficultly compared to their non-disability counterparts, as which they can use their easy to do tasks to their advantage. People with disabilities have the skills that they are so greater with doing a way better job depending on the person than their non-disability counterparts would. If a person says that a person with a disability can't hold a job or even doing tasks of any kind, then they don't really understand very well about the disabilities, and they are discriminating about it. A person with a disability thinks about things very differently, and it can be useful depending on the individual in question, and compare it to the people that do not have a disability. If an individual has refused services simply based on their disability of some kind, then in fact it's a form of discrimination. A person with a disability are trying to do their best in understanding things, but depending on their disability in question, then it would be challenging to them. A person that is part of the non-disability community says they may not understand about disabilities, but the way that person with a disability will see that a person without a disability, that they know little to not much about disabilities, and people with a disability will, as will those who are close to, will try and make them understand a little more about disabilities. A person with a disability in some way makes up a part of that person's identity, just like everything else. A person with a disability are in a totally different in the world compared to other people that are totally around them. Some or all people with disabilities can do everyday tasks like everyone else, but with them with them, they see it as a challenge in doing a task. A person with a disability can think of anything and do anything differently, but others may mistake their their actions as a bit of a misunderstanding. A person with a disability can use their disability as their ability depending on what type of task that they working on at that time. A person with any kind of disability, physical as well as invisible, should not or cannot be discriminated or treated like second class citizens because they are people too. People without a disability will never understand those with a disability unless they have some sort of connection to them in some sort of way. It's important to educate people without a disability into knowing the importance of understanding about the different types of disabilities and that is out there and what those people with it are going through. People with a disability want to be treated fairly just like everyone else would, but there are times that they aren't getting treated fairly because of their disability. There are simply not enough resources that would help people with disabilities with their day-to-day lives, and if there is, it would only help a little if it can. That is, when a person with a disability has a job of any kind, they need their code workers as well as their employer to have a little bit of not of understanding of their disabilities and as well as meeting all their needs too. People with a disability do experience loneliness and abandonment most of the time from people who are even from people who are close to them or people who are trying to help them. People without disabilities will see those with disabilities and trying to make them out as troublemakers and to do anything to get them in trouble and punished for things that they didn't do for the person without the disability and to get away unpunished. People with disabilities would experience any form of bullying on a regular basis, and even if the person with a disability has reported the person bullying, but the bullies will continue bullying them until something has to happen. People can fake a disability, and if it has been done, it's not going to be nice to those with a disability. People with disabilities are very nice and kind people, and they will do their best with doing anything as they can. I have to say that the show has come to the end for the time being, and in the next episode of What Am I Saying, I'm going to be talking about School is a Place, and stay around for this episode to come, and for the time being, I see you guys later. The following production has been written, edited, presented, and produced by Patrick Gunning and copyrighted in 2023 by Patrick Gunning, or PFGUN0 for short.